Polonia Warsaw, founded in 1911, is the oldest existing Polish sports club, with football, basketball, track and field and swimming teams. History: Polonia Warsaw was formed in the autumn of 1911 as a union of two school teams. The founder of the club was Captain Wacław Denhof-Zarnicki, who also came up with the name of the club. Polonia is Latin for Poland, and is often used by Polish expatriates in reference to the communities in other countries. The choice of such a name was a brave decision at the time, since Poland was not an independent country, and Warsaw was a part of Russian partition. Initially, the players played in black and white striped shirts, but in the spring of 1912, they switched to the now traditional design of all black shirts. The legendary patriotic explanation for this color scheme was that it was a sign of mourning for the occupied and divided motherland of Poland. This lasting devotion to tradition resulted in the club's popular name, the Black Shirts. The uniforms, white shorts and red socks, come from the colors of the Polish flag. The club's first match on the 19th of November 1911 was against a strong local rival, Corona, and ended 3-4 in favor of Corona. 2 years later, in February 1913, the Black Shirts defeated Corona 4-0. During the First World War, German occupants were slightly more liberal in the ways than the previous Russian counterparts, and allowed the official registration of sports clubs on Polish territory. On the 15th of October 1915, Polonia officially became a football club, despite already existing for 4 years. Pre-war period. The first match between Polonia and Legia Warsaw was played on the 29th of April 1917, ending in a 1-1 draw. It was the first historic Great Derby of Warsaw, the clash of these two rival teams. A month later, there was a second match between the teams, ending with the same score. Hatred divided the supporters early in the club's history and continues to this day, driving strong emotions during the matches and sometimes even greater emotions between matches. In 1921, the Black Shirts came second in the first ever season of the Polish Football Championship. In 1926, they also finished the season as joint champions. Polonia was Warsaw's favorite club. The great majority of the city's inhabitants were devoted Black Shirt supporters. In the late 1930s, Polonia became one of powerhouses of Polish football, with players such as Jerzy Bula, now Władysław Szczepaniak, Erwin Nyc and Henryk Jasnicki capping for the national team. The friendship between Polonia and KS Cracovia, the pre-war Polish football legend and the first ever champions of Poland, dates back to those days. The first championship, the first Polish Cup and relegation in 1946, Polonia finally won the Polish championship title. It was symbolic among the ruins of the bombed and burned capital. The final match was played on Wojska Polskie Guard Stadium on Latsienkowska Street, because Polonia's stadium on 6 Konwiktorska Street had been ruined during the war. The Black Shirts defeated AKS Chorzów in the final. In 1952, Polonia Warsaw won the first Polish Cup. In the final, Polonia managed to outscore local rivals Legia Warsaw 1-0, much to the delight of Warsaw's fans, who mainly supported the Black Shirts. During the Stalinist period, Polonia's name and colors were changed. Warsaw's oldest club was renamed Kolja, as the team was now tied to the Polish National Railroad Company. The Black Shirts were banned, as the Stalinist regime was trying to erase everything which was associated with Warsaw from before the war. Every Polish football club got a sponsor, such as the army, militia or mining industry. Unfortunately, at the time, the railroad was one of the poorest sponsors, even choosing another club as the main club they were investing in. Polonia's management also struggled to face the problems that the club came across, which contributed to its eventual relegation to the Polish second division. 15 years later, there were still thousands of fans on Konwiktorska Street. Nobody even thought it would take 40 years for Polonia to come back to top-flight football. One of the reasons behind this was that all the young men, promising footballers to be from all over Poland, and especially the Warsaw youth academies, were called up for compulsory army training, which under the communist rule lasted about 5 years, or sometimes even longer. Many of the players received an offer to play for the army-sponsored Legia Warsaw, which led to some of Polonia's bitter rivals' biggest successes in the 1960s. Till the modern-day, Polonia's fans attribute Legia's current popularity in Warsaw to the communist regime and the stealing of talented players. Polonia's ultras fans put up a flag with an anti-communist symbol in the center of Kamienna sector every game. Back to the top flight. In the 1992-93 season, after 40 years playing in the lower leagues, Polonia Warsaw was finally promoted to the first division. The organization of the club was insufficient to compete with the strongest clubs in Polish football, the biggest problems being lack of money and a sound training base. After one season, the team was relegated yet again, but only for a year, as in the 1995-96 season Polonia Warsaw won promotion again. In 1996, Janusz Romanowski took over as chairman of Polonia, having just backed out from sponsoring local rivals Legia Warsaw. In 1998, the Black Shirts finished runner-up in the top flight and in 1999 reached the semi-finals of the Intertoto Cup, the second championship, the second Polish Cup, and relegation in the 1999-2000 season. Polonia were not considered challengers for the title. At the end of the autumn round, the Black Shirts were for the first time in club's history leading the league. The team had two managers, Jerzy Engel and Dariusz Dowczyk. During the winter break, Polonia signed two talented players in Tomasz Wyszycki and Tomasz Kielbowicz. In the spring round, the Black Shirts lost only 2 games and drew 1. Polonia won the Polish championship after thrashing Legia Warsaw at Wojska Polskiego Stadium 3-0. Prior to that, the team also won a League Cup, yet again beating Legia Warsaw away 2-1. In July, they confirmed the place as the best that year, by winning the Super Cup in a match against Polish Cup winners Amica Wronki by a score of 4-2. In the Champions League qualifiers, the Black Shirts won in the second qualification round against Dynamo Bucuresti, just to lose at the hands of Panathinaikos Athens in the final qualification round. Despite losing the battle for Champions League, Polonia Warsaw started in 1T round of the UEFA Cup, where they lost to Udinese Calcio twice 0-1 and 0-2. In 2000-2001, the Black Shirts lost the form, playing poorly in the first division, yet still managing to win the Polish Cup. During the next few years, Polonia managed to stay in the top division, however finishing mainly in the bottom part of the table. During this time, the club was owned and sponsored by a long-time supporter, Jan Raniecki, a car parts company entrepreneur. Unfortunately, Raniecki died after a heart attack on the 1st of March 2006. His family, who inherited the club, were not interested in running and sponsoring Polonia, so the search for a new owner began. the JW era. In March 2006, the club was bought out by a new owner, Joseph Wojciechowski, the owner of JW Construction, the biggest housing development company in Poland. The club budget was strengthened, and at first it seemed that Polonia would quickly become one of the main forces in Polish football yet again. However, the club was relegated to the second division after ending in last place in 2005-2006. In 2006-2007, Polonia struggled to get promoted to the first division again, coming close but ultimately failing, finishing in 7th place. There were reports in the newspapers that some older players in the squad were not interested in promotion, as they probably would have lost the places in the team had Polonia gone up. In July 2008, Polonia Warsaw merged with Discobolia Grodzisk Wielkopolski and took over its place in the Polish top division. Most of Discobolia's players moved to Warsaw to form the core of Polonia's new team. Several players from Polonia's old squad stayed in the club too. The team managed to finish 4th at the end of the 2008-2009 season, and subsequently reached the third qualification round of the Europa League. After beating Budućnost Podgorica and thrashing Juvenes Dogarana, Polonia gave in to the Dutch side NAC Breda. In 2009-2010, after several changes in managerial positions, and with the team performing below expectations, the club chairman Joseph Wojciechowski decided to employ the former FC Barcelona captain José Maria Baqueiro as manager. While the team was last in the league at that point, Baqueiro managed to save the season by avoiding relegation and winning against the local rivals Legia Warsaw for the first time in 10 years. It was also Polonia's first win against its bitter rivals at home in 60 years, sending supporters into the summer break ecstatic. 100th birthday. For the 100th anniversary of Polonia Warsaw's, its owner Joseph Wojciechowski strengthened the squad significantly, by signing 6 new players, including Eusebiusz Smolarek and Artur Sobiech, raising the expectations and hopes of fans for the new season dramatically. Things got off to a good start with 3 wins and a draw from 4 matches and first place in the standings. However, the press was reporting difficulties with the relationship between the team owner and the coach, after suffering the first defeat of the season to Korona Kielce at home. Joseph Wojciechowski and José Baqueiro parted company, against the supporters' wishes. The former Polish national team manager Paweł Janusz, already working at the club as football director, was installed as a replacement for the Spaniard, signing a 2-year contract. It all went from bad to worse for Polonia from that point on. A string of unconvincing performances from the team left Polonia in 8th place, 10 points from the top of the table after the first round. On the 6th of January 2011, Dutch national Theo Bos was confirmed as the new manager of the club. However, he lasted only 5 matches in charge, as he was dismissed after losing in the Polish Cup and scoring only 1 point in 3 games in the league, leaving the club only 3 points above the relegation zone. Assistant coach Piotr Stakofek has been promoted to the head role, but as his predecessors he also did not last long, just 1 defeat against Widzew Łódź. Tarnobrzeg-born Jacek Zielinski, who has been sacked from Polonia Warsaw back in 2009 by Joseph Wojciechowski, has been appointed as a new head coach. Polonia won 5 out of 7 matches under Zielinski, saving itself from relegation, and finally took 7th place in 2010-11 Ekstraklasa. On the 6th of June 2011, Polonia's star playmaker Adrian Mierzejewski was sold for a record fee in Polish football history, 21 million zlotys. On the 11th of October 2011, Polish footballing legend Włodzimierz Lubański was appointed as vice-chairman, sports director to relieve Józef Wojciechowski of his duties, and to secure continuity to Polonia's future. Due to inactivity during winter transfer window, Lubański has been sacked after 3 months of work. On 28 March 2012, Jacek Zielinski was replaced by Czesław Michniewicz on Polonia's manager position. Despite a 3-0 victory over champions to be Lask Wrocław in his debut, Michniewicz had a string of poor results and failed to win the title, which was there for the taking. Worse, Polonia failed to qualify for Europe, finishing only 6th in the Ekstraklasa. For Józef Wojciechowski, this was too much, and he decided to withdraw from football altogether, offloading the club to Irenos Król after an unseen by European standards deconstruction of the team, in which over 15 players left, and the club ceased to exist for a week, ending the JW era on a massive low. Back from the dead with the Naked King. On 24 July 2012, a week after buying out Polonia's players to move them to Katowice, the new owner Irenos Król acquired the rights to the club name and the emblem for a symbolic $1 and kept the club in its rightful place. Despite rumors of a merger with GKS Katowice in which Król had invested in previous years, by then the youth coach Piotr Stakowek was appointed as Polonia's first coach, and started building the new team based around literally 11 survivors from the previous season, mixing them with young talents and lower leagues players. Notably, a promising under-21 Polish central midfielder Tomasz Holotha was signed mid-season, however, with Polonia surprisingly sitting in 3rd place in Ekstraklasa, merit to young coach Piotr Stakowek. The worst possible scenario turned out to be true. Polonia's new owner Irenos Król turned out to be financially unreliable. Delays in contract payments caused a repeat of the turmoil from the summer, and again Polonia lost more than half of its first team, and nearly all the high-priced players left on free transfers. Adding insult to injury, Polonia's star players joined main title rivals. Georgian national striker Vladimir Dvalishvili and influential winger Tomasz Bryski joined local rivals Legia. Young talented Polish national poacher Łukasz Teodorczyk joined Lech Poznan. Additionally, enfant terrible and Polonia's top scorer from the previous season Edgar Kani joined Catania, leaving Polonia with only one striker to finish the season. Almost the entire defensive block was destroyed, with Kotra Kokoska and experienced Marcin Baszczynski leaving the club. On the positive side, LWSO Lech rejected a last-minute move to German outfit Hannover 96 to stay at Polonia till the end of the season. Sebastian Prorowski and Łukasz Piatek, two players with over 100 caps for Polonia, decided to stay at the club, despite the financial situation being very unclear and debts mounting. Manager Piotr Stakowek, after the success of the first round, had to rebuild the team from scratch again, just like he did at the beginning of the season. Both times he succeeded far above expectation. Among last-minute deals and loans of young talented players, Polonia surprisingly signed 23-year-old experienced Estonian national defender Igor Morozov from Levadia Tallinn. Piotr Stokiewicz converted few players' positions to fill in the gaps, notably Polonia's only striker, and the new Kapitan Daniel Golubiewski was shifted to left-back, leaving Polonia with only midfielders to play up front. Despite performances remaining at a high level, Polonia witnessed a string of poor results, mainly due to the off-pitch troubles. On 3 April 2013, Irenos Król's IDEON filed for a strategic bankruptcy, with increasing debts. Doubts over Polonia's future existence were mounting. Is the licensing process for the next season coincided with the exact date of IDEON association's financial debt-clearing deadlines. There have been accusations of fraud on Kroll's part, despite efforts from the Association of Polonia supporters to regain control over the club to clear the debts with new sponsors and assure Polonia's survival. Ireneusz Kroll was not interested. On the 28th of May 2013, Polonia did not receive a license for the coming season in the Ekstraklasa, due to an outstanding debt of around 8 million Polish zloty. Subsequently, the club lost its place in the PZPN ranks. On the 17th of June 2013, Ireneusz Kroll filed for bankruptcy of Polonia Warsaw S.A. due to the circumstances. Polonia, despite finishing 6th in the Ekstraklasa 2012-2013, automatically dropped 5 league levels to the lowest level in its 101-year history. Another year, another resurrection. On the 20th of June 2013, the Masovian Football Association confirmed a place in the semi-professional Masovian Liga Okręgowa for the newly formed Polonia Warsaw team, which was created by Association of Polonia supporters led by Grzegorz Populac, and based on the youth players of MKS Polonia Warsaw, a local youth academy, which was not a part of KSP Polonia Warsaw SA, owned and destroyed by Ireneusz Kroll. Due to sporting merits, MZPN along with PZPN changed the previous decision, and on the 10th of July 2013, Polonia was moved up one tier, to the 4th league, the bottom professional league in the National Polish Football Association structure. Piotr Jawicki was named as the new manager, and along with Paweł Olczak, they managed to find and sign 26 players within a month, most of whom were connected with the MKS Polonia Academy recently, or played in Polonia Warsaw team at higher levels before. The debut for the newly formed Polonia Warsaw team was set for Łomianki, a nearby Warsaw suburb. The game started very well, with the experienced Polonia legend Jacek Kozmalski scoring only after 10 minutes, with Michał Strakowski adding another 5 minutes later. Unfortunately, the game had to be suspended after 36 minutes due to third-party hooligans, supporters of Legia Warsaw, who put up illegal banners, threw objects onto the playing field, and finally invaded the pitch in numbers, resulting in riots with the police, subsequently ending the football for Łomianki and Polonia. However, only a week later, on the 26th of August 2013, the dream debut was realized. Polonia's community proved the worth organizing an unforgettable footballing spectacle with the stadium at almost full capacity. In their actual full debut, Polonia Warsaw's newly resurrected team beat WKRA Juroman 6-0, with Michał Strakowski scoring a hat-trick, and more importantly leaving the so far unknown Polonia team as the main title contender in the league. The team was strengthened mid-season, with experienced Mariusz Ujejka replacing Jacek Kozmalski, joined by ex-Polonia Warsaw players that used to train with the Ekstraklasa team few years earlier, notably Dominik Lemonek and Michał Glinski. Also, 2 Nigerian players joined the club, to follow up in Polonia's legend Emmanuel Olusebi footsteps. Polonia won the promotion to 3 Liga in June 2014, with 1 game to spare. Unfortunately, Piotr Jawicki was let go, despite proving his worth, and against the supporters' wishes, by the club's officials, notably Paweł Olczak. Mid-season, at the end of 2014, more dubious decisions were taken by the club, after a very poor round with an almost unknown coach. Polonia hired coach Dariusz Dezwigala, only to let him go after only few successful games. Few strong players were let go by the club with no official explanation. Błękowski, Glinski and notably Lemonek and Zamanek left the club. Piotr Kotechevich had a poor episode at the club, only to be dropped few games before the end of a poor season. Club legend Igor Golazevsky became the head coach for the last 6 games of the season. The club finished just above relegation, 14th in the 4th tier of Polish football leagues, 3rd League 3, Liga, for the Masovian Lodski Voivodeship, Jerzy Engel and Amp Co. On 25 June 2015, Polonia Warsaw, under the leadership of Jerzy Engel, took over the senior team from the MKS Polonia Warsaw Academy, which helped to reinstate Polonia Warsaw back from non-existence to the bottom half of the 4th tier of professional football in Poland. Under Engel's the club returned to the emblem and the sponsor from the Polish title-winning season. The stem of the team from the previous season was kept. Igor Golazevsky remained as main coach. Wojciech Szymanek, Jacek Kozmalski and Radoslaw Lomachdin all returned to the club as coaching staff. The club signed 4 experienced offensive players, Koszarowski, Marczak, Trzaskowski and Obluski, to help Polonia in the promotion fight. Polonia Warsaw, at the first press conference, also made a strong intent of building a modern stadium at Konwitorska 6 within 5 years, meanwhile getting back to the Ekstraklasa. Players. Current squad is of 26 July 2015. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Out on loan. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Notable players. Internationally capped players. Polonia in European Cups. Supporters and AMP rivalries. Friendships. Polonia fans have friendships with fans of Cracovia, Kraków, Sandyka Noe SACZ and the Liglo Fondo Norte group of Real Zaragoza. Support and AMP. Notable fans. The average attendance at Polonia's matches is around 4,425. The shirt number 12 is reserved for the club's supporters. Famous supporters include Duman Nowakovski, Maciej Dalbor, Jan Inglet, Mitchell Liskowicz, Stanislaw Tym, Kazimierz Gorski, Krzysztof Ibizz, Marek Jurek, Grzegorz Jankowski, Wojciech Wysocki, Hanna Leszczyńska, Tomasz Konieczkowski and Stefan Friedman. Adam Bardach read a famous book entitled De Proaway 0-1, which centers around local children playing football inspired by Polonia's team. In August 2004, the Polonia fans adopted a black jaguar called Beata from the Warsaw Zoo and rechristened her Beata Konwitorska. The animal has become a club and fan symbol. Warsaw Derby. The main rival is the local team Legia Warsaw, with whom they contest the Warsaw Derby. The rivalry stems from not only geographical reasons but from the fact that Legia in the PRL era Legia had significant help from the city and various other sources whilst Polonia languished in the lower leagues. Polonia consider themselves the club of the local population, whilst Legia draws significant support from the surrounding region and the population, which has settled in the capital city from outside. The matches between them currently stand at Honors. Domestic Polish Championship. Winners 1946, 1999, 2000 Polish Cup. Winners 1952, 2001 Polish Super Cup. Winners 2000 Polish League Cup. Winner 2000 Youth Teams, Polish U19 Champion, Polish U19 Runner-up, Polish U19 Bronze Medal, Polish U17 Runner-up. 1998. Managers